Alright, we made the 12-hour drive to sunny South Carolina for the streetcar bragging rights race, probably one of the biggest races of the year. We're going to kick it off here momentarily for our first qualifier. We brought 3 cars down here to run in Roanoke Brung and Wild Street. All quarter-mile passes. Should all be deep into the 7s, and we're trying to bring home the W. Got some bills to pay at home. The class that we're running specifically is for factory suspension, which I probably have the most factory suspension car here with factory torsion bars, factory leaf springs all in the factory location, factory shock location. Everything's got to be stock for this class. So hopefully everyone brought their A game with that and no protesting happens. We did do one upgrade over the winter to, we put a thicker torsion bar in it to hopefully control the wheelie a little bit better, pretty much reducing stored energy. And I'm going to try to put some power too, because this track is known for the traction, for house, they call it the House of Hook. So we're going to try to get after it and see if we could best our best 8th mile of 489 and try to get into the 70s and try to go into the 50s or 40s in the quarter.
All right, so we got the car out of the trailer, had a couple things that we had to button up and kind of make it over to race mode. I actually used that airbag I made for the drag and drive. I put it back there just to kind of keep the wear and tear off of the shocks and springs back here. That worked out pretty well, but we had to get that out when we got here. Rear bumper came loose, hit a lot of potholes, fixed that, went over all the shock settings, tires, all the normal stuff. Got a tune-up in the car that I think is going to work. We did a 9-degree retard when we went our fastest at Sick Week. We had a 5-degree retard, but with less weight, more power, with the change in the suspension stuff, lowering the rear end, all that good stuff. I want to make sure we have a good baseline. So went back to a 9-degree retard. This should yield like a 125, 126, 60 foot. Guessing because I don't know with the almost 300-pound weight loss. Going to plan on running it to the 8th or so, just to be able to pull the log, make sure everything's working well before running it all the way down. I'm going to probably still pull the chutes. We have all the new motion stuff for the chutes, the air launcher or air release, so want to make sure that works before we actually need it. So it works at the shop, but we want to make sure it works on the track as well. Hoping to probably go a 470, 480, I think, with this. Maybe a 480, I would say, mid 480s with this tune-up, close to 150. Again, don't know what the weight and the power gain, what that's going to yield us, but soon to find out. So now we just wait for our class call. All right, so I just stopped in real quick, kind of talk about Sick the Mag. They have a brand new issue shipping right now, this one right here. You get 4 high quality magazines per year, and they are only 25 cents a day. I mean, you can see the quality in this, over 200 pages of super high quality, super thick pages. You get to see some really cool drag and drive stuff on this. Almost all of us has been featured in it to some extent or another, either just a picture in the staging lanes or actually a full article like Bob's. I think Rick also had a little quick blurb in there. The other thing I want to talk about is Sick Summer. It's coming up early next month, June 10th through June 14th. We're not going to be there, but definitely make sure you keep an eye on it. Don't forget to click the link in the description for Sick the Magazine. You can check out all their merch and also to subscribe.
Alright, so we made a test pass number 1. Actually, I put a real soft tune-up in it. It was one of the few cars that actually go down the track, went a 5.0 at 145. I was trying to get a feel for it, pulled the chutes, made sure they work. You know, see the shutdown's actually really short and kind of sketchy. Pull around, start gathering my chute, watch the actual car wreck. Not good. He didn't get stopped in time with a short shutdown, went into the net, it looked like it might have hit a barrier. Just so happened at the same time the ambulance was helping someone else, so no one was able to get to him. It was a big giant mess, but luckily it was okay. Got me in my nerves. They turned us around pretty quick, and we had to get up for qualifier 1. I thought if it took it a little bit, I'm going to put a little bit more in it. Waited, the sun beat down on the track got even greasier. I didn't realize the light was, the second you will stage it goes down, so there's no time there. So I tapped the rev limiter, bumped in like I normally do, and it usually takes me a second or two to get up to the boost. It went right down. I left off 3 pounds of boost. Went out, turbos lit, zinged the tires. I pedaled it, went like a 9.3, so still left me for a number 11 qualifier out of 32 at that really bad pass. I'm going to make a couple changes on the boost builder so it builds a lot faster. I'm going to change my staging approach here than I normally do, and I'm going to kick my traction control on just in case. So I'm going to try to run a 495-ish pass on this and then run it out to about 1,000 foot and drive through the chutes. Probably not going to run full quarter mile here, even though it's a quarter mile race, just because the shutdown's real short. I'm in my nerves, so we're gonna try. We'll see what happens. Right now, I'm gonna cook some steak though.
So just finished up my first qualifier, which was our second pass, and I had a slight issue on the keyboard. All my fault, completely self-inflicted. I have my trim pot switch in there, and it's supposed to pull timing. Well, I forgot the negative sign, so it actually added timing. So instead of pulling out 6 degrees, which I intended to do, it actually only pulled out 1.5 degrees, which is probably nothing I've ever actually ran, which is probably like a 112, 110, 60, like a 110, 60 foot. That track never would have held that. I don't even know what track would hold that yet, because we haven't been there. Also, the dump valve was off. So it was giving it pretty much all the power. And I don't know how fast that is, but too fast for that surface. So it took a minute to figure that out, but once we figured out what actually happened, obviously nothing was hurt other than an aborted run pretty much. It came around, but it still wasn't a great pass by any means. So yeah, we're gonna see what we can do on the next one. So just got done with my third pass. This was qualifying number 2, and we had it set up for what I figured would be a 117, 118, 60 foot, and the track took it. Went up there, I did a burnout, shot a couple extra little flames, which it normally doesn't do, so I thought that was a little odd. And then took the light, everything was great. It launched, it felt phenomenal all through first gear, almost all the way through first gear, about 7,700 RPM. It kind of nosed over, shot flames, just all hell broke loose inside. And I throttled a little bit, made sure it was in high gear, thinking maybe it just didn't shift and that was the rev limiter. I slapped it into high gear, got back into it, and it still did the same thing. And after that, I just kind of coasted. I did go 117, 260 foot, which is a new personal best for this car and this combo. And we did a little bit of diagnostics so far by pulling the log, looking at stuff, and it looks like we have potentially a bad crank sensor or bad cam sensor. Lucky enough, we have both. So when in doubt, we replace both of them. I'll also take a quick glance at the wiring, make sure there's no connectors loose, no oil in any of the connectors or anything weird, just to make sure everything's okay. But we're going to let it cool off, probably wait till morning, just because it's late. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, so we'll probably wait and do that first thing in the morning.
Like it was It went a 499 at 146 like that. It went so over my drive shaft curve, because I offset it to hit the first timing way over 100 RPM, which is a pretty decent amount. So it was, the fact that I went 146 mile an hour like that and a 499 like that is wild. That's 200 horsepower or more out of there. All right, after a long night last night, we finally got the run right after midnight. Air was good, track was good. I put a soft tune-up in it and then turned on my active speed management and put a 5.0 curve in it because I wasn't knowing what to expect. Car left real good, went a 124 60 foot for what would be a soft tune-up. Went a 499 in the 8th, and I pulled the chutes really early and went an 823, which puts me qualified 11th at 108 miles an hour. So I need to actually run it out a little further. I probably have one of the fastest 8th miles in the class, if not the fastest 8th mile in the class. I just need to keep going and not be a wussy. After looking at the log, the car moved so much better that it rode the traction control line and was pulling power all through high gear also. So I'm going to adjust that up, open up that a little bit, and I'm going to kind of see what the track conditions look like during the day today. If they're bad, I'll leave it on. If they're good, I'll turn it off. So hopefully we'll be able to get our last qualifier to get in the top 3 or 4. So we have a good position into the round 1.
All right, so my crew woke up this morning. We decided to change the oil, and when they were sliding the front bumper off and jacking it up, they noticed that the fuel pump was leaking. It was coming, this V-band's onto the part of the ProCharger drive, and fuel just dripping, a constant drip out of there. Obviously we can't race that way. So we kind of took it apart, started looking at it, and it looks like it's just coming from the seal in the shaft. Stopped over next door at Devin Vanderhoos, and he's a little more familiar with methanol than I am. And these pumps, same pump, similar pump that he runs, and sometimes the seal dries out, he says. So he let me borrow some high pressure lube. He told me to pack that in there. We're gonna let it sit, for as long as we can, and get it back on there. He said it should seal it back up. Just the methanol really dries everything up, so this should kind of swell that seal back up, I'm told. So it's our only chance at making in the race today, because I don't have a spare fuel pump. So we'll see how this goes.
Probably for first round of eliminations, I drew what I believe is a high 8-second car because it's a mile an hour and everything lines up, but it's probably not. Who knows? I probably turned this car down as much as I ever have in the last 3 years. I got a 3,600 RPM leave on 5 pounds of boost, with a ramp to 20 pounds of boost over 4 seconds with a 5-degree retard. I just needed to go. I have my scramble button with 8 pounds on it in case I need it, and that's what I'm going to roll with it and just try it. I have the car that could go rounds in this thing. The track, I just hope the track's just not there right now, and we're really expecting a good track. So we have the car set up for a good track. So we were wish us luck that we'll be interviewing after this for going into E2.
So that was just got back from our Q3. Definitely did not go as planned. The surface is probably worse than we thought it was going to be. That was normally, like my pass last night, I did a 6-degree retard and ran it all in, around the 60 foot just after. That was an 11-degree retard, which should have been like a high 130, maybe a 140, 60 foot. It went out 0.28, hit the tire real hard, spun the tire. All the timing was out by 0.2, so I don't think I could have pulled a whole lot more. I think it would take loosening up the front end, maybe a gear change on the Pro Charger to get the boost out of it, get more power out of it than what timing can give us. We might integrate some kind of dump valve situation and just something for a surface like this, even though that's not what we're planning on racing. I think we're at that level where we need to make some bigger changes like that and have another way to pull power versus just timing and boost. Changing the torque converter charge pressure will allow it to slip a little more and allow you to get out of the hole, and then you can turn that dump valve off and allow you to actually get all the power that you have to the tire when you actually have the traction to do so. So we're going to make some changes probably in the next couple weeks. Not completely rebuild the car again, but make some positive changes along with a couple other things. Every time you take a car out, you learn things that you could do better, things you should add, or some little changes you can make to either make the car perform better or make it easier to drive or whatever. And that's just another one of those things that we need to do. Like I said, along with a couple other things. Not really sure how the ladder looks yet. Probably not great. I'm qualified pretty down there. My only decent pass was just during test and tune, so it doesn't count. That last one was pretty bad. I think I ended up doing like a 551 or something yesterday, coasting to that. So I can only assume I'm going to have one of the fastest 3 or 4 cars at the very least in my first round. So I'm hoping they postpone everything till later this week or later in the day, so maybe the track will come around and I have a fighting chance. If not, maybe we'll just loosen the front suspension and pull even more power out and see if it'll go down. So we'll see what happens.
We're on first round. Turned the car down more than it's ever been. Had to drive the car really good because we had to go to the one side of the track to get a little bit of rubber, and it kind of drifted. I had to keep it off the cones a little bit. He got ahead of me. I grabbed the scramble and just drove out of his life. Went I think an 839 or something at 141. Obviously pulled early. As soon as I knew I was ahead, I pulled the chutes, and so it looks like we're on to the next round. Now that it's starting to get cool, hopefully we'll get a couple of delays, and then the next round will be on a good track. We can really wick this thing up, show everybody what this thing can do. Woo!
Alright, so we just did round one of eliminations. I had a newer body style Caprice. It's actually a pretty quick car. I know I didn't have to kill it because he's like a 550 car, which was actually what I qualified with, just a couple thousandths ahead of him. So we put in something that I said we just got to go a low 5. Tom was up there on the starting line, told me to turn it down just a little bit more on the knob on the dash there, and that was probably about 12.5 degrees out at the hit, and then carried out to well over 2 seconds. I ended up still with a 126 60 foot, so not terrible for what that is, but we did loosen everything up, and I'm not sure. I did win. I'm not sure with a 502 at 147.2. I'm not sure what time we're going to run, and so I don't know what kind of changes we're going to make to the suspension. We may just leave it and just creep up on another degree of timing if we need to, and it also depends on who we get on the ladder. I'm not sure yet, so that'll kind of tell us what kind of tune, if we're going to have to swing for it or not. So yeah, we're going to wait until get it cool down and maybe pull log, make sure everything's okay, and then kind of go from there.
Dude, I was out on him too.
I got neutral.
I don't have one anymore. Driveshaft number 4 exited the chat at half track, or maybe further out. I don't know. Better than a motor. I think I left on him. I was ahead of him. It was a drag race, and it broke, and he passed me. So that's racing. Still blessed to be here. I got all fingers, all my toes. I'm not hurt. I got a family to go home to still. Sorry, honey, I didn't win the vacation money. Oh well. We'll get it fixed up and be ready for Michigan next month. Well, broke the dry shaft again. Seems to be a thing with me. Doesn't appear to have that much crazy damage. Nothing's leaking other than whatever happened when they tried to tow it. They broke something, fitting or something on my cooling system, so I gotta look at that. Driveshaft broke in half. Looks like I might have broke a U-joint or a cap came out, or I have no idea. Didn't shake, didn't do anything. I was ahead at about, I had kind of a light tune-up in it, like mid-20s a boost. And he was kind of, I see my peripheral, so I grabbed the scramble, and that brought me to about 33 pounds of boost. And then right at 4.4 seconds, the driveshaft broke. And I coasted a 510 in the 8th at 130 and got it stopped. Still went a 9.3 somehow, but I was ahead, and right when that happened, I lifted and he beat me. That's racing. 10 fingers, 10 toes, still got a loving family, so I'm not going to be upset. We'll get it back to the lab and get a driveshaft in it, get it fixed up, have the trans gone through, make sure we didn't do any damage, because that sometimes happens. Change oil, do some maintenance, and get it ready for Michigan streetcar takeover. Go rounds there.
So we just did our elimination second round. I, of course, had, according to the ladder, I had number 1 qualifier, Devin, which is pitted next to us, been very helpful this weekend. Super knowledgeable guy, so it was kind of nice to race him. However, he also qualified with a 410 versus my 550. So very humbling racing him. We turned it up. We had to kind of shoot for the fence, something we've never put in the car. And it was a new personal best pretty much all the way down. So it took it, it stuck. We're happy about that. We kind of reverted back from the first round and put the shock settings back where they were. Didn't really touch the limiters, left that where it was, put the tire pressure back up, and only had a 5-degree retard in it, ramped it all in right at the 60 just after. And went down through, I was actually ahead for a split second. It felt like an eternity inside the car. And then all of a sudden I seen him drive around me. But he went like a 50-something, a 450-something to my 479. I did a 117.0 60 foot, but a new personal best on the mile an hour at 149.5, so knocking on 150. Got a few things we need to change on it. Nothing major. You know, I want to just kind of tweak a few things. There's a track run coming up Wednesday, so that's the plan, is to get it back, get it unloaded tomorrow, and start wrenching on it again, because it's kind of what we do, wrench on it before and after every race, it seems like. So yeah, we'll go over some data and see how that went on the data, that last pass.